All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're dissecting a really fascinating piece of source material, a storyboard prompt for episode 8 of the webtoon series The Golden Notebook. If you're into the nuts and bolts of visual storytelling, specifically how creators manipulate images, text, and sound to absolutely wreck us emotionally, you're in for a treat. We're going to break down the anatomy of a scene, looking closely at how a shift in relationship dynamics is perfectly mirrored by shift in visual language. Okay, let's dive into this exact quote. She had always been my sunshine. Now it was my turn to be her shelter. Man, that just instantly drops us into the high emotional stakes, doesn't it? It sets this beautifully melancholic tone right off the bat. It tells us literally everything we need to know about the history of these two characters, Side and Sana, and the immediate burden Side is feeling. There is such a weight to these words, a responsibility that perfectly sets up the narrative arc we're about to explore together. Section 1. Setting the cinematic mood. Scene 1. The unexpected phone call. Now, to make those heavy words actually land, you absolutely need the right atmosphere. We're talking soft rain tapping on the glass, paired with this low, melancholic piano chord. Before we even see a character clearly, our ears are already bracing our brains for something somber and overwhelming. Just look at the breakdown we're building here. It's a rainy evening inside a dimly lit metro train. Syed gets this shaky, totally overwhelmed voice note from Sana. She's obviously had a brutal day where everything just went wrong. And the camera choice here, it's fascinating. It's a close-up on his worried eyes, literally reflected in the dark, rainy window. That specific reflection is brilliant. It visually isolates him, showing exactly how far away he feels from her and her moment of need, while highlighting his own internal anxiety. Moving on to Section 2, the emotional role reversal, shifting relationship dynamics. That anxiety Syed feels on the train, that leads us straight into the core thematic beat of our source material. It's all about how character dynamics, and really human dynamics, have to pivot when the partner who is usually the sunshine has a day where just everything goes off the rails and the dark clouds roll in. So what is a role reversal in this context? It's exactly that shift. The person who usually brings the light suddenly needs the other person to step up and be their temporary shelter. We've all been there, right? When your usual resilience just evaporates. Watching a character step up like this is a hugely powerful narrative tool because it proves the depth and the adaptability of their bond. Section 3. Visual storytelling and contrast. Leveraging color palettes. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the creator doesn't just lean on dialogue to show this shift. They use deliberate color theory. It's like they're painting the character's emotional journey directly onto the screen. The prompt gives explicit instructions for a visual contrast, shifting the cinematic anime style from cold, moody blues to warm golds. So, scene 1, moody blues. You've got the dimly lit metro, that dark rainy window, the overwhelming voice note, the sad piano. It feels cold and distant. But then, as Syed moves to comfort Sana, the palette completely flips. We shift into warm golds, soft yellow light under a gazebo, a warm thermos of tea, a goofy, reassuring smile. The emotional temperature of the story is literally dictated by the actual color temperature of the scene. It's a real game changer. Section 4. The power of silence. Scene 2. The gazebo. As we transition over to the gazebo, you can feel the pacing of our story naturally start to slow down. That frantic, nervous energy from the metro is gone. This entire scene is built on the quiet intimacy of two people finding a little safe space away from the storm. These physical actions outlined here, absolute masterclass in the show don't tell rule. Syed doesn't run up and launch into some massive monologue. Look at step 1. He rushes over under a large umbrella, an instant physical shield. Step 2. He opens a warm thermos of tea, providing that internal warmth. And step 3, the most crucial one, he just sits beside her without saying a single word. Seriously, take notes. He doesn't try to fix her bad day with an unsolicited 10-point action plan, he just brings tea and sits. The comfort is 100% communicated through staging, props, and physical presence, rather than heavy dialogue. And this brilliantly illustrates the profound power of that quiet presence. You don't always need words. Sometimes you just need someone to stay. These words basically act as the inner monologue for both of them, the exact feeling they're sharing without actually having to say it out loud. Check out how their physical postures are contrasted here to really hammer home that emotional dynamic. You've got Sana sitting under the gazebo, hugging her knees, making herself as small as possible. She looks completely exhausted. And then contrasted against that, you have Syed. He's arriving as the active protector, bringing the umbrella and the tea right into the falling rain. The medium shot framing here perfectly highlights that soft yellow light protecting them. It creates this literal visual sanctuary right in the middle of a metaphorical storm. Section 5. Building the perfect cliffhanger.
Scene 3. Her brightest smile.
Okay, so the storm is finally starting to pass. Let's move to the emotional climax and resolution of this beautifully short arc and see how this builds visually. This is where that shelter concept we talked about earlier really pays off. If we track the cinematography of emotion here, we can see the evolution across the sequence. In scene 1, we started with that close-up of isolated reflection, Syed's worried eyes in the dark window. Then, scene 2 pulled back to a medium shot, showing the environment, framing them by the rain, but keeping them safe in that soft gazebo light. And finally, scene 3, we move back in for a tender close-up. But notice the difference. It's not isolated anymore, it's unified shot. Side profiles, together, under that soft, warm light. The camera physically pulls them closer together as their emotional distance evaporates.
So, how exactly does the scene resolve whatever tension is left? Well, it's all in these micro expressions and subtle little actions listed here. Sana sips the warm tea. She looks up at Syed. He gives this goofy, reassuring smile that totally cuts through the heavy melodrama. She laughs softly, and then she just leans her head gently against his shoulder. That's it. A simple laugh and a leaning head, but it's absolutely enough to bring the entire emotional arc to a super satisfying close.
So, the crucial point here is how this completely solidifies their bond in the narrative. In that quiet moment, we both knew this was something real. It's the ultimate confirmation for the audience. This wasn't just some nice gesture, it was a foundational building block for their relationship. Going from sunshine to shelter has literally made them stronger. But hey, we can't forget, this is episode 8 of a serialized webtoon. So let me ask you, how does this incredibly warm, comforting scene ensure viewers actually come back for episode 9? I mean, it's a lovely resolution, sure, but where is the narrative drive to keep clicking? Let's shift gears for a second and look at the actual mechanics of episodic retention. You do it with an absolutely irresistible hook. Right as we, the audience, are just basking in this warm, fuzzy, emotional resolution, bam! We hit them with a sudden promise. To be continued, Episode 9, The Big Revolution. It's brilliant. You pair this deeply satisfying, quiet, emotional moment with the sudden, jarring promise of a major plot shift. You give everyone exactly what they want emotionally, and then instantly dangle a brand new mystery right in front of them. To wrap up what we've unpacked from the Golden Notebook prompt, let's run through the key storyboarding takeaways. 1. Master your visual contrast. Shift your color palettes, like going from moody blues to warm golds, to map out the emotional journey. 2. Leverage physical actions over heavy dialogue. Use the umbrellas, use the tea, use the shared silence to really show, don't tell. 3. Make sure to match your camera angles to the emotional distance of your characters, moving from those isolated reflections to unified close-ups. And 4. Always end on a promise of new narrative stakes. I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought to chew on. If you were sitting in the director's chair for this final scene, what one specific visual detail would you add to that warm gold lighting to make their final smile even more emotionally devastating? Really think about it. The props, the weather, the framing. How are you going to apply these storytelling mechanics to your own creative work? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. I hope this deep dive sparks some awesome ideas for your next project.